other baseball story here on the West Coast. This is kind of intriguing, and my mind has been changed a little bit along the way based on what I've observed over the last 48 hours. It involves
Ron Washington.
Halos.
Yeah. So tell us what changed on for you.
Well, he won the press conference,
Mm-hmm.
and baseball people that I network with, I asked them the kind of the same questions. I did. Give me a couple words to describe this guy, because I had an opinion. The time had passed him by. He'd been out of it for such an extended period. And, he was victimized by what he did to himself in Texas. I mean, it ended really, really badly. Nobody wanted to touch him. And then he came back and he went to Atlanta and he stayed there, I think, for almost 8 years. I was surprised he didn't get many interviews from other people. I'm kind of surprised. The Padres have had 3 opportunities to hire him and didn't. Well, the comments that were given to me, I mean, it was just an outpouring of compliments from around Major League Baseball. He energizes organizations. He is a worker at heart. He's not a punch-in, punch-out, time clock baseball guy. He galvanizes a roster with his sales pitch in the clubhouse. And he won the press conference. He said, I will find leaders on this team, and I will talk immediately, not just to Trout, but also to Rendon. And he says, my sales pitch to my players, baseball has to be your priority every minute of every day. Baseball people told me he is a real stand-up guy. He's a difference maker with young players, and the Angels are going to have a bunch of young ones. He's no BS. It's all about baseball. So it was fascinating. So if there's so many positives about Ron Washington, and Preller walked down that hallway when he worked in Texas with this guy who was manager, how come he never got hired in San Diego if everybody else in baseball is saying, look at what this guy does?
Well, maybe Ron Washington wasn't willing to be manipulated by AJ Preller. So maybe they just didn't come together, those two. But what's interesting is before Ron Washington was hired, everyone was still kind of, what's going on? Why'd you hire him? What about his background? But now since he's been hired, everyone's like, oh, great guy. He's going to be terrific. So I've seen him, he's a personality, and he's got a lot to say and he likes to have fun. And I could see him creating an energy, kind of a vibe in that clubhouse to get those guys rallying. So he could surprise us.
That being said, he won the press conference. He's not going to win with the roster he has right now because Ohtani is out the door, and that changes everything. And then you add into that whole scenario and that whole storyline is they have one veteran pitcher left, Tyler Anderson.
That's it.
That's going to be the ace of your staff. And they've got 6 young pitchers. Some have done okay, like Reed Detmers. A whole bunch have just been absolutely overwhelmed. So they got a lot of work to do. It is interesting, though, because Perry Manassian, the general manager at the end of the Angel press conference, he said, we are going to be aggressive. Rebuild is not part of our language here at Angel Stadium. And I didn't realize this. They have $68 million in cap space, budget space to go use. Now they got to convince people to want to come there with a franchise that won't have Ohtani there. So he won the press conference. Get him some players. We'll see if he can win the game. And my response is, AJ had 3 chances to hire this guy. Didn't hire him. And yet, I think I might have canvassed 5 different baseball people. I got this glowing sales pitch about who he is, how he acts, what he's learned. Maybe that's got something to do with post-Texas.
Well, it was the Jace Tingler hiring, right? Was that the one that was
well, they had the chance before they hired Andy Green.
Oh, it was Andy Green. Okay.
They had the chance before they hired Jace Tingler.
Right.
And now, granted, Bob Melvin, real proven commodity till he got here, but there was a chance there to do something with Ron Washington at that point in time. And now this point in time, he didn't get hired. So,
yeah. Well, just like Dave Roberts, right?
Yeah.
We didn't give him the time of day, and he's had some pretty good success.
So that's the latest there, Angel Baseball.